back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to show you this very easy dress. It won't even take time. So this here is just 2 yards of fabric that I have here. You might need about 2.5 or a little bit more than half of fabric to make this here. So this is what I have. 2 yards of fabric folded into two. You see the folded part here, this part here, the end of the fabric here. So this is it here. So the other one I was telling you about is here. The other half of the fabric I'm telling you is what I have here, and you can see the 2 ends of the Ankara here, and I cut 2 of it. The width I have here is about 10 inches for each one. So one is 10 inches, one is 10 inch. That's the length here. But you know, the width this way it's 10 inches. Then from the end of this white part to the end of this white part is about the same length. Ankara comes in 46, right? So I have 2 of them here, which is 10 inches here, and then I have the second one also 10 inches. So this is going to be for the gather that I'm going to make at the end of the dress, right? So I have 2 of them here. So that is why I said you need about 2.5 and a little bit over 2.5, right? Because this is because of this extra here. So now this is what we're going to do. So the other 2 yards of fabric, you folded it into 2 here, which is this fold I have here. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and tilt it this way. So the more you angle it, the more flay you would have, you understand? But you don't need too much flay here. So I'm going to just go ahead and tilt it in such a way that my measurements can still fit in. So this is okay for me. And then how you're going to know the length you have at this point is that you're going to measure this outer part of your cloth. Just this outer part. So I'm going to place my tape from the end here and make sure that I have about at least 40 inches, including my seam allowances, right? So yeah, so it fits in here. So that is what I'm going to use. So let me just rearrange it better. So guys, the next thing is to rule a line here for the shoulder measurement, and then you start to insert your measurement. So first thing is my shoulder divided by 2, which is 8, minus 1 is going to be 7. Mark it here. Come down 1 inch of shoulder slope, mark it here, and then I'm going to go ahead and insert my armhole. So my armhole length, which is going to be at this point here, connect it all the way to the top here, and then I'm going to come in here and make sure that my bust fits in here. So my bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch of seam allowance, and then 1/2 inch of ease. Make sure it fits in here. Guys, this is what we have here now, you see. So you're going to, you see the initial line I had was here, but I had to tilt my fabric again just to make sure that my bust divided by 4 plus my seam allowance will fit in here. So now it fits in here, you see. So what you're going to do now, basically after fabric, the first thing is your shoulder divided by 2 minus 1. So my shoulder divided by 2 is 8. Minus 1 is 7, so that is the width I marked here. After that, I came down 1 inch of shoulder slope, and then after that, I insert my armhole here, which is round your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. That is how I got this line here. So this is the line I'm working with right here. So now the next thing is going to be to mark the length. So how you're going to determine the length you're working with is to measure what you have on this outer side, right? So that is how I'm going to measure it. So I'm working with 40 inches for both the seam allowance and everything. So I'm going to place my tape like this and mark 40 inches all the way around to the end. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So I just marked 40 inches from the beginning all the way to this point. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So guys, this is the side here. So once we cut off the bottom, we're going to also cut off this side here, right? And then I also split this one into 2. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to, where I marked my shoulder slope, I'm going to then mark my neckline, 3 inch of neckline here, and then I'm going to connect it to this point here. And then I'm going to do 1 inch for the back neckline, 3 inch for the front neckline, 3 inch here, 1 inch here. Connect both of them to this here. Connect the second one also. So I'm going to cut this out, and then the second one I'm also going to cut it out. So I'm going to cut the first one out for the both of them, separate it, and then cut the first one. So guys, this is it here. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out the second neckline here. Come down enough, like 3 inches, and cut it out. So that is it here. So if you look at mine, you see that the flay is not too much, right? But that is because I already made one and the flay was a lot, so I wanted to make another one, but this time I tried to reduce my flay. So let me show you the one I just made now, the previous one I made, right? You see, if I pull it down now, you see that this here is supposed to look something like this. You see, it's like flay, and then it has this at the end. So I decided to change it up. This is going to be like an extra large, so I decided to change it up a little bit now and make it something like different. Instead of making it too wide like this, I brought mine even closer, right? So that is the one that we're doing now. So just like I said, if you want yours to have a lot of flay, maybe make it shorter so the fabric doesn't drown you, right? And then also if you want it to have a lot of flay, that point where we tilted the fabric, tilt it even more. That means you will not use 2 yards, you might use 2.5, yeah, right? So, or 2 yards and plus 10 inches, just so that you can be able to fold it even further than that, right? Because the one I just showed you now wasn't 2 yards that I used for it. I used more than 2 yards just for the body, right? Just to get it to fold even more and also be able to get the length I want. So now I'm going to go ahead, fold this back. At this point, we are going to go to cut the gathered part that we need to, you know, the thing by the side here. So how you're going to cut it is that you're going to remember the one that we started with initially, which was 10 inches, right? I told you I want the flay to be 10 inches. That is with the seam allowance and everything. So that 10 inches now, because this is 10 inches, I'm going to cut 9.5 here. The 0.5, I'm going to cut away 9.5 square from here of length. I mean length because it's the length I'm considering, so that everything else will balance out. The half an inch from this is going to serve as my half an inch here. So let me show you what I'm saying. So get your tape, and then you're going to go up from the end of your clothes like this, just like this. From the end here, mark 9.5, mark it. So you see, I'm going from the end here. 9.5 is where my tape is. I marked it. I came in again, 9.5, marked it. Just connect everything, go in more, 9.5. You can do, it depends on you what you want to have here. You can do about 8 inches in here, depending. This particular part I can't really tell you how much you would do, right? Because you know, it depends on how much you tilted your fabric. Like somebody that tilted it like the previous one I just showed you now, the difference between the two sides where my gather started for this one is about, let me show you, is 15. So that would be 7.5 on each side, you see. So it depends on you how far if your fabric is wider, so you know, maybe to when you go to cut it, stop at about 7 inches, right? But for me, that mine is just smaller now. The width is smaller. When I mean small, I mean the width of the flay is smaller. I can decide to do, let's say, 6 inches, or I can still stick to the 7. It doesn't matter. So let me do 6.5 then, because I'll still take away seam allowance from here. So mark it all the way, and then also mark 9.5 at this angle too, and then connect this square like this. So this is the part I'm going to cut out, this square here. And if you cut this out, if you're thinking what you can do with this, you can even use it as your pocket, right? So if you would like to add pocket to yours, just come down from here up to 10 inches here, and then leave about 6 inches in between, and then you can insert a pocket here. So as you're closing your seam down to this point, you leave this open, continue your seam. So let's say you go to sew it now, you're closing up here, you leave here open, continue your seam all the way to the end. This part here, pocket will be here, you understand? So let me go ahead and cut out this square now. So guys, this is it. You see, I've removed this here. Just like I said, there are 2 pieces of it here, so you can use one here, put it in here, shape it like a pocket, and then use the other one also here, shape it and use it as a pocket on this other side too, for the 2 sides of your clothes. So now let me go ahead and finish up. So what I'm going to do first here is that for the back panel, I'm going to split it open so that I can create an opening for my head. So come down, straight slit all the way down to about 5 inches or so, something like this. I'm going to turn it over with bias. Once I turn it over, the next thing is going to be join my shoulder here, join the shoulder here, join the shoulder here, use bias to run my sleeve, use bias to run my sleeve, close it up, leave 6 inches in between, close up the rest. Do the same on this side, and then I'll come back and show you how we are joining our gather. Because one of these here, you see how I was showing you before, this is just the width of how our cara comes. You see the 2 ends. This one is going to fit into this space. Every other thing will be gathered here. The second one here is going to fit into this space. Everything will be gathered in here. You understand? So guys, this is it here. You see, I've done one side here. This is the side I've done. This is the center. You see, this is how I joined it. The end here, every other thing into together, and then the other end here. You see, the end of the akara is here. So just that same way, I'm going to take this the same way, like this. I've already notched it, so I know where halfway through this is going to be. All I have to do is first, I'm going to take it like this, sew it down like this. Just take it, sew it down on one side, and then you're going to make sure that the pin of your sewing machine, you don't raise it up. Make sure it's hooked to this, and then you tilt your fabric this way, and then start to gather everything on this part here. And then once you get to this other part again, you can go back in again, start from the bottom part, and then sew it all the way to the top. And once it's done, go ahead and hem the end of your clothes. So I'm going to go ahead and hem every end of my clothes now.